It's Eric here with CAD Avenue. Based on a recent survey, I found out that a lot of people are asking about how to create dynamic blocks. That had the most interest in the poll. Running a close second place was just general 2D drafting. So what I'm going to do is combine the two videos together. I'm going to show you how to create this section arrow here. We're just going to build this using just common CAD commands. We'll create the circle, the arrow. I'll add some attributes in here. We'll create a flag down here in this section. Then I'm going to create a dynamic block of this so that we can combine and remove different pieces of this. So we have just one basic block that does multiple things. I also have what's called Dyne mode activated. So that's Dyne mode. Type it into the command line. If you don't have this active, you need to set it to 3 so that you can see the commands at your cursor. So we're going to start off with the C command, the circle command. We're going to just arbitrarily put a center of circle in our model space, our working area. We want to create a radius here of 1/4 of an inch so that the diameter of this being a 1/2 inch circle. So again, I'm not using the ribbon. I'm just using straight common CAD commands. Now, once we've had our circle drawn, we need to check our object snap settings. So we can type in OS or object snap. And here you'll need to set your entity snap modes to something similar to this. So you have the endpoint, quadrant, the center. We don't necessarily need the node in this video, but yeah, so maybe we'll turn on a midpoint here. The idea is to have maybe 3, 4 of these selected at a time. I think if you have too many selected, we're going to end up crossing some of those snap settings. So we got the line going through the circle itself. So we're going to snap here at the quadrant. And as I'm snapping, I'm just left clicking. I'm accurately placing that line in there and not guessing at the endpoint or where quadrant is. I'm going to draw the arrow in. I'm going to come up, and as I'm coming up, I'm going to type in 1/8 of an inch. Now, if you're a metric user, that's going to be your millimeters. So up at the upper right, I'll leave a conversion of what 1/8 of an inch is. And then what we need to do is escape out of that. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my polar tracking. Down here, we have this tracking symbol. If you right click on that and make sure that the 45-degree increment is set, because we're going to use that setting so that we can draw in our arrow. So let's toggle that on now that we've set the 45-degree angle. And let's just use our line command, and we'll come down in 45 degrees here to some point we don't really know. And then what we need to do is mirror it on this side. And we'll left click here, select no, to delete. And then we'll just use the fillet command to trim these two lines together. You want to click it on this side of the line and not this side. So click it here and then here, and that's going to create our arrow. The next step will be to just hex the arrow itself. So we'll just use the ink command. Make sure that the scale here, let's set the scale to 1/16 of an inch, and the pattern is going to be ANZ, and then we need to make sure that this associative here is checked, and then we just choose this one for boundaries, pick internal points. So now we specify the point in here, press enter, and then choose OK. The problem is you can see the scale is not low enough. So in this case, we can go ahead and just click on it. And we'll see the scale here, either in this quick properties dialog or over here on the left. And we can change the scale to that 1/16. For some reason, I didn't take in the dialog. Let's just draw a couple more things. Let's throw the arrow in. Again, I'm just using the line command. And I'm clicking here on the endpoint, coming down. It's going to come down 0.5. And then let's put the arrow on the end of this. Now, this arrow here comes from the dimension line. So if I typed in DLI for dimension linear and put a line here, what I did was I took in this and using the X command, I've exploded it and then simply just copied this piece just with the CO command. I've copied it from the endpoint here down here, and then I can just erase this. Just type E for erase. I did mention in the beginning of this video, this is all drawn at a 1-to-1 scale. If you took a physical ruler to the drawing, this is what this arrow and bubble would measure. So let's go ahead and just select this, type in the RO command, and we'll rotate it from the midpoint here, then just locate and snap it up and down here. Then we can just simply move it with the M command. We're moving it from the midpoint to the endpoint. Now here I'm just left clicking and snapping accurately to the drawing. Real quick, I'm using a AutoCAD-like program called AutoCAD. And in this video, I'm using a few of those tools. You'll also find those tools in AutoCAD as well. So if you're using AutoCAD, this video will be helpful to you in the same way. AutoCAD is a AutoCAD alternative and costs about a quarter of what AutoCAD does. For more, you can visit cadavenue.com/AutoCAD.html. Next, we're going to add these attributes in, and I'll show you what attributes are after I'm done creating this, and you'll be able to understand what they do. But attributes work within a block, and in the next part of the video, I'm going to show you a little bit more about blocks. But essentially, what we need to do is type in ATT for attribute definition. And in this dialog, we've got some choices here on the left. I have preset and block position turned on. For the justification, I want this to be one of these center options. So let's just choose a center middle. Now the text height, I have this set to 0.0938, the same as 3/32 of an inch. So now that we've got these things set, we need to give it a tag name. We'll just call this section number, and then we'll just copy this and we'll use it for the prompt as well. The default is what is going to show up when we don't have a attribute defined. And then from here, we can just click OK. Now it's going to ask us to put this attribute onto the bubble. And so let's snap here to the midpoint, and then we'll just come up and we'll line this as best we can in that bubble. Now we just need to repeat the process, go back into attribute, definition. Everything is saved as previously done here. But for this tag, let's call this sheet number, and we'll copy this, Control-C, or Control-D to paste it. The default, let's just put this as 2 hash marks, and then we'll just choose OK. I forgot to define the center value for this, but I'm going to show you later how we can go back and change this, center it in there as best we can. Let's continue on to the flag down here at the bottom. So in order to draw this, we'll go ahead and copy this line. We'll use that, and then we'll copy it down. Make sure F8 button is pressed. That will lock us into the X and Y axis. We can come down here and arbitrarily put the point down here. But in order to draw the flag, we're just going to use the L command, the line command. Come over this way. We're going to draw this in at a 1/4 inch, and then we're going to come up 1/8 of an inch. And then we're going to come over. Now I want to snap perpendicular to this line, but I don't have that active in my snaps. So I can force that snap in by just typing in a keyword. If you're interested in these keywords, email me and I'll send you a PDF with all those. So as you can see, I've typed in that PER keyword. I've only got that perpendicular snap available to me. Just a way of transparently running that in the middle of a command and having that available temporarily. So let's go ahead and just create the line going from here to here. Select the entity from bottom right to upper left. You just use a crossing. But if you do the same crossing here, it won't pick them up because you're coming from upper left to lower right. We'll just pick it this way. Easy way to pick up those two pieces at one time. And then we'll type in the E command and then press enter. So we need to draw this hatch in here. So there's two ways of doing this. We can just repeat what we did up here, typing the H command and all that, and figure out and go through that whole process. But actually, there's an easier way of doing this now that we have a hatch already in our drawing. So we'll come up here, we'll select the hatch right here. But you can see that it's found multiple instances of entities that are close to where I picked. So here I can specify which entity I need. I'm going to click on hatch. And this is good to know because as your drawings become more complicated, you're going to specify what to select if you've got entities on top of each other. So now that we've selected that hatch, we can type in the add selected command. And this is a useful command. It's going to go ahead and match everything based on that entity. And now it's going to ask us to hatch this area here and then press enter. And as you can see, it's matched everything based on what we've already drawn here.